are back once again, Schmeat Nation 3 with the Schmeat Nation 3 podcast presented by Power Director. As always, I'm your host, Kieran. Joining me is Adam Rocket. Week 10 of the Fantasy Football League. Now, crazy. How you been, Adam?
I've been doing good, doing well. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, let's get into it. It's
We
getting
all
down into
know
the nitty-gritty of the season. Let's go.
we all know the business now. Let's kick it off with the trade that occurred and our thoughts. Parker making some moves late, try to shore up the wide receiver core, sending some pieces he didn't need this week in his utter domination, receiving Chris Godwin, sending to Brad, Tyler Boyd, and Cordell Patterson. What were your thoughts on the move? First reactions?
My first reaction is that this isn't like it's not like a blockbuster trade by any means. I think that Cordero Patterson is coming off the injury. He looked good last week, so that's a good pickup for Brad, and so is Tyler Boyd while Jamar Chase is still out. It was interesting going for Chris Godwin. I guess I don't know exactly how he's been doing this year, but I feel like the way that Tampa Bay offense has been going, he hasn't been. Yeah, I guess he's just like the ultimate consistent piece. He gets 6 or 7 catches every game. He has yet to find the end zone this year, so that's a bit concerning for Parker. But I guess what he's looking for is just that 10 to 15 point insurance piece there in his flex.
Yeah, and that could be all he wanted. I definitely thought this was a better move for Brad, especially at this point in the season. That said, Tyler Boyd is on the bye week this week. But it was interesting because it felt like Cordell Patterson could just do Keenan Allen numbers, but I guess he had a couple of bust weeks. Keenan Allen,
Mm-hmm.
same person. He could do Chris Godwin numbers, but he has had his share of the bust. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It does seem like a net neutral trade there. So we'll jump into last week. Nothing else going on
Mm-hmm.
around the league there. Pull this one out. Starting with a shocker. A shocker. I couldn't believe it,
Upset
but
here.
then I think it was Thursday and the 10 a.m. games. I was just like, oh shit, I'm definitely going to lose this. Because Justin Herbert really let me down. And then was expecting a lot more from the Eagles defense and Devonta Smith, but that's just how the cookie has crumbled recently. So GG to Reese. Again, it's like I think we said it earlier in the year too. Like he has a guy put up insane astronomical numbers, 48, and then he gets 143. So like we've spoken on that ceiling. I mean, 48 and a 25 or so. A little bit rough around the edges, but it was his bye week, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And now he really makes it seem like the playoffs could be looking pretty locked there. We'll blame this one on the Saquon Barkley bye week.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly can't blame it on that, but he also had a fair amount on bye. I think what it comes down to in this matchup is you just really missing Mike Williams here. Like Devontae Smith just is not performing up to what he should be doing. Uh, yeah, it seems like in Philadelphia, it really is just AJ Brown and Dallas Goedert. It seems like he'll have his games, but I don't think he's anywhere near consistent enough to start. So, unfortunate loss for you. Big win for Reese in that fighting for the 6th spot, and now he has the same record as both of us. So,
That's a great
yeah.
record to be at.
Mm-hmm.
And what could be the only person in the hunt following Reese's victory there, we got Max with the clutch nail biter win. It was flexing a little bit, kind of styling on him with a few goose eggs around the team. I think Robert Woods did play and he just
Yeah, he had a
sucks.
couple targets. Yeah,
No
it's
one can do it
crazy.
with Malik Willis.
There is a combination of 4 guys on Max's team who together put up -6 points, which is just insane.
And to
Like,
beat Kalen's team, it's just
yeah,
like, yeah, Kalen's team really doesn't instill anything. And the fact that like the Ravens can win 27-13 and their wide receiver, like I think he was the only receiver with a catch or something crazy. Yeah,
yeah.
one. It's just like
One
that's.
catch for 5 yards. Yeah,
Oh yeah. No one is technically out of it yet, but I mean, I've been looking on to next year.
yeah. This is just one of those year where you say, "All right, go next."
Yeah.
Not really much more you can do for Kalen here.
Yeah, that was a
The
rough one. GG's
yeah.
to Max. For everyone inquiring about it, I did speak to him and let him know he needs to field some players. So we'll
Yeah.
see if that turns around.
On to the next one.
Jumping in, we got Jasper. I would have expected this one to be higher scoring, but the outcome was exactly as we expected, picking up the win over Brad. Just unfortunate for Brad to lose Dobbs. I think that was kind of his biggest underperformer. No, I mean, I guess he had underperformers
I
all
mean it
around.
was both the Green Bay guys. Yeah, definitely Green Bay getting absolutely stuffed by the Lions. I think Aaron Jones may have also gone down during that game, which is why AJ Dillon saw a lot of action. But he also AJ Dillon wasn't able to do anything, and Tyreek Hill on Jasper's team just putting up numbers as he always does. I think he leads the receiving race by like 250 yards over the next guy. So obviously shoring himself as the number one wide receiver in the league. He's such a beast. He's always open.
Yeah, his point totals are pretty disgusting here. And he hasn't really been finding the end zone all that much, so yeah, he scored 3 times and one was just twice. So super consistent, and if he can fall into the end zone a little more,
Yeah.
that Jasper, like there's a
He does
lot
do
of
it need
people
to.
like on paper Jasper's team should be like so good every single week, but then the inconsistencies out of these guys recently,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess he had some bye weeks, but I still don't love the depth of his starting lineup. But we've seen him put up 170, I think, a couple times. So,
Yeah. I
and
think
that's
the
what you
only
need to win the
person
playoffs.
that he could have slotted in here would be Brandon Ayuk over Tyler Conklin. But like his Dalton Schultz back, that's yet to be seen. Uh, yeah, just unfortunate for Brad. I think this might have been the nail in the coffin for him.
Yeah, because I think now, yeah, 2-7. It's definitely gonna be tough for anyone to make a run now. You need a lot to go your way, but
Mm-hmm.
no one's out of it yet. I think me, you, and Reese just need one more win to put some
Yeah.
high pressure on the 2-7ers. And moving into a guy who's stoked to join the 2-7ers, Eddie picks up his first win since dropping a couple hundred points back in week 2. Ending a massive loss streak off the back of one of his trades that did work out for him, a 36-point performance from Mahomes. This one was just pretty unlucky for Jamie that Joe Mixon decided to get 5 touchdowns because there were so many points scored here. She got, you know, 1 or 2. Obviously, if she got 2 to Joe Burrow, she would have won. So
Well, I think he did. He got at
he
least one.
threw
I'm pretty
one,
sure one of
yeah,
the Joe Mixon ones
one
was a
or two
pass
more,
touchdown,
I
right?
should
Yeah.
say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
Exactly.
Eddie finally grasps himself another victory there, and his team I don't know. I feel like good and bad about it every single week, but they
Mm-hmm.
found a way to win this time. And then there's definitely some question marks surrounding Jamie's players, but did have a little bit of bye week hell there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's tough to say for either of these teams. I think Eddie is the more likely of the two to be able to make a run, but again, it's just going to be tough. I think at this point, it's out of their hands. Like, even if you win every game, you still need losses from top teams. So we'll see
Yeah,
what the future holds.
absolutely. I think lucky for Eddie and Brad and Jamie too. Jamie has a tough schedule too. They play a bunch of the top teams, so they might be able to pave their own way.
Mm-hmm.
And just an absolute monster performance. Most points scored on the entire season from Parker. He definitely is in the upper echelon of the upper echelon. He's by far got the best team, I think. We would both agree. A little bit of a spoilers. We joked about would we take Seth plus 39 and a half, and that would have been a good bet because he got 111.
Yeah, he did tank the Cowboys defense this week,
But
which
he would have needed an entirely different team to
yeah, you definitely don't expect when you're putting up 114 for your score to get doubled by your opponent. That is just absurd. This is definitely the best week that we've ever had in league history. So props to you, Parker.
Yeah, 28 from the bottom two to just really seal it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of understand why he went for that kind of roster bolstering trade, getting rid of Tyler Boyd and Cordell Patterson for someone he hopes can just slot in a receiving core where like I just assume Keenan Allen's not going to be back, but if he does get Keenan Allen back, he just has four guys who are like, top
Yeah.
24 receivers who all are super incredibly consistent, and then two top five receivers. Like a pretty impressive lineup crafted through a number of trades by Parker
Yeah.
there.
It really is his year to lose. He'll hopefully he can keep it up in the playoffs for his sake. For the rest of us, hopefully he shits the bed 1 week in the playoffs. So yeah,
Yeah, oof, wouldn't want to play him next week.
yeah,
And moving into our matchup of the week, and Connor seals the victory over you, Adam.
yeah. This is just is unfortunate with what's his face, Jonathan Taylor being ruled out for this week. Uh, yeah, had a pretty big bye week, so I don't know. This is one where, like the rest of us, it's just go next. This is what I get for starting Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I hate the guy so much. And then you put him in against a team who has the historically worst defense in the NFL. And then it's like the guy throws 3 interceptions. Like, fuck this guy, dude. He's the worst QB in history. I hate him so much.
It really is
I
the
get, yeah,
CMC effect too for you. Anytime you lose by 30 and you had your replacement CMC go for 2.9, that's kind of what
yeah,
it'd be.
that is
So
how
you
it be.
get him back. You get the carry back next week. And on Connor's side, like I think this is just a string of 130-point performances. So he's slowed down a little bit historically because he was up there in the 150s.
Mm-hmm. We'll see
But you see the
how,
numbers. I mean, Jesus.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see how Josh Allen's arm feels. I think he hurt his elbow in the last game. So he does have Tua on the bench, which is fortunate for him. But are you ever going to start Tua over Josh Allen? That's the question that comes.
Yeah, I think he would be hoping for just a complete Josh Allen rule out, but
Yeah, I think, yeah.
not hoping,
But
but instead of an
yeah,
injured.
it comes back down to it. Like Connor's wide receivers, again, just doing what they need to do. I think everyone on his team found the end zone except for Mike Gesicki and Jacoby Myers. Maybe not Fournette. It seemed like everybody. Every game, every second that I was watching, it seemed like one of his guys was getting into the end
Yeah,
zone.
he didn't get in it. Fournette's like
He's
fallen
definitely
off a
dropped
little
off a
bit,
bit.
but
That entire Tampa Bay offense has just been struggling.
yeah, that's just kind of how it is. And we didn't even talk about the Mark Andrews injury, but he did win, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
exactly.
And jumping into a power rankings where we almost had the exact same one, but we gave each other the nod.
Yeah, I
And
thought that this was interesting. It speaks to both of our modesties, I couldn't rank myself above you, obviously, because that would make me look like a douchebag.
I do have that thought every time since we're right next to each other. I also feel like this is the week where you could have some monster performances from the top two draft picks. A lot of change though as a whole.
Mhm.
Parker, I was a little shocked. I forgot that he wasn't at the top last week because I think I was talking about how I like his team
I think
the
you may have had him
most.
at 1, and I had Connor at 1,
No, we
and I
all have
think
both had Connor at one.
oh
Pretty
wow.
crazy.
Yeah,
But pretty linear all the way down. We see where it's at now. And I mean, these six, this could just be the playoffs we'll be battling in. So how
yeah.
exciting for
It's
us.
you would hope that there would be a little bit more of a fight for that 6th spot, but I mean, we're 9 weeks in and it's already over. It feels a little bit anticlimactic, but I don't think that. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's got to be tough to be down there.
I think the door felt like slightly open with Reese prior to this week, but now, especially with the way Reese has built his team off the wire last week, like Justin Fields looks like he could potentially be a league winner for him there.
Mhm.
So like it just makes it seem like his team has less of a chance to win. I thought he was just beatable by the people on his schedule, but that could be shifting. That's a humbled Kieran right there after weeks of bashing the hecking Gex.
Yeah.
They were just accumulating mass. Anyone we need to go over? I drop another game picking Kalen.
Yeah, it was. We picked
Even
almost
with
the exact same slate, even with Max having, four guys putting up zero or less. He still pulled out the victory. Good job, Max.
crazy. We'll see if we have some parity this week.
Yeah.
I'll try to think. We won't hold too much. Moving into this week's matchups. And we're gonna hop right over this first one and get a hypey matchup into the second spot here. The Hecking Gex at 6-3, trying to bring it 2 in a row, maybe 3 in a row. I have no idea how many Reese's won recently. Going up against Jasper, who I think is on one of the hottest win streaks. I think he's got 5 in a row.
Hmm.
After being 2-2. And this one should be pretty good. Like I was saying, I just really, really like Justin Fields rest of season, and the Bears fan part of me is kind of the only part of me screaming that you shouldn't like Justin Fields because it's the Bears and he can absolutely have a total dud week, especially against that staunch Detroit Lions defense.
Yeah, I mean,
But I do like the way Reese's roster's been shaping out in recent weeks. There's definitely some question marks on consistency, but the pop off potential is there.
yeah, I think his running backs are really what it comes down to for me. Like Najee Harris and Jeff Wilson just don't really seem like they're the kind of guys that would be on a championship team. And when you compare that over to Jasper's team, having Josh Jacobs and Alvin Kamara, I mean, both of those guys can get above 30 versus I don't see Najee or Jeff Wilson ever getting above 30 this year at least. And then also on Jasper's team, just the number one wide receiver. Like it's tough. Reese does get Jasper on the Lamar Jackson bye, so that's a positive for him. We'll see who Jasper slots in
And Jasper
to
is
replace
really
him.
executing like the ultimate disrespect. Like when I check after waivers have run and my opponent is still not having anyone to replace the QB, like they don't even care enough to put in a priority request. They're just going off the scraps, the remainders. It's just like the ultimate disrespect. Like they're like, yeah, you can pick whoever you want. You can pick up QBs to hold against me. I do not care. So some mad stones from Jasper, but his win scenario really, and it's kind of weird to say, but it hasn't even really been Lamar this year. I mean, early on, he had those 45-point games, but recently he hasn't done very much. It's been these running backs
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean, it's
Tyreek
all
Hill.
on the back of Tyreek Hill. Yeah, he's definitely logged into the app because he put Brandon Ayuk there in the flex. But yeah, he was definitely like, "Nah, I don't need a quarterback.
He
Just
took
gonna
one
take
look
it
at
this week."
Reese's team. He went the Seth approach.
Yeah,
He's definitely got guys that
he
he. Oh
picked
wait,
up Jarvis Landry
yeah,
too. He just
this
didn't
guy,
pick up
this
a
guy has
QB.
no clue. I thought it was disrespect. It's the ultimate disrespect. He
Yeah,
even checked the
he
app.
consciously did it.
This guy's a fucking maniac. I do feel like Reese's flex looks a little better after the trade deadline came and went, with Pickens being alone there. But he does
Mhm.
have the rookie QB throwing to him. I think this matchup's going to come down to if Josh Allen plays, but unfortunately we have to do our picks without Josh Allen playing. So who are you going with?
Uh, I mean, I gotta stick with it. Jasper clearly has the better team here. Gotta take Jasper.
Oh man, I feel like it could be another 40-point week from Justin Fields and a lot to overcome. The running backs aren't bad. But I'll give him the nod because he beat me last week. I'll go with Reese. And since we had so much even last time.
Yeah,
In my heart, I want him to bring to a massive or a potential,
yeah.
massive way of tying. Moving into the next matchup here. Two people looking for some help, looking for Jasper to win the previous matchup. Max taking on Brad. A difficult year for both of these teams, I think, based on expectations coming into the season. But especially for Bradley, whose team looks pretty solid, shaked out, but still not projected very much this week.
Yeah, he does have core Daryl Patterson in here. What do the buys look like this week?
Brad doesn't have any. He just said, oh no, he's got Tyler Boyd. He's got Odell.
Yeah,
Max
is
has a couple.
Michael Carter's on buy for Max? So that oh no, he's not. Wait, is he? Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
he is. Max
Yeah.
has this might be the first time we're talking about Max's roster and it's fully complete for the weekend. Let's fucking go, Max.
Yeah.
He saw the
Uh,
nod.
it's very tough to say. Justin Jefferson going up against Buffalo. I mean, I think they have a pretty good defense. But Travis Kelce against Jacksonville, I mean, he could be scoring 4 touchdowns again. Um, yeah, I, I don't really know, man.
It's a
Max's
tough
team
one to
is questionable.
choose. I
Yeah.
and like I think this game is Monday night, and Brad just has so much potential for points on Monday night. I would not want to go against the AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts stack. Saving it until Monday
Yeah.
could be wild, but having to start Cole Kmet, I guess he did good last week. It's just like it could be that tight end difference.
Yeah. I find it crazy that the Chiefs D is only projected 3.5. It's like I can't really understand why. Oh, he's playing Kadarius Toney too. Wow.
He's calling his shot on
Yeah.
Tony's. I think that's all he has. Oh, he could play Taysom Hill, I guess, and AJ Dillon, but that hasn't really worked out.
Yeah, that's not very exciting of a pick. I don't know, man. Based on these lineups that are listed in here, I could honestly see this going either way.
And
I'll let you pick
that's why
first.
we get 2.2. Oh God, I was dreading you would say that. Oh man, it is tough. It feels like ESPN's calling this one normally, but I'll go with Bradley. I think I like Bradley's team more, and I also question it's gonna come down to the QB, I think. I guess Travis Kelce will go nuclear, but Tom Brady hasn't really done a lot, and Jalen has, so
Mhm.
I'll go with the better QB at this point.
I rode Max to victory last week. I think I'm going to take him again this week. Come on, Max. He
Let's
got
do
the
it, baby.
talking to from the commissioner. It's time to
Got taken out into the
kick it into
hallway and
gear.
said, "Hey man, everyone's asking questions in Snapchat. Help me out over here." There you go. We got parody all the way. Into the next one. This is a great matchup because Eddie's team is super fucking good for 2-7, but we got the 6-3 your team going up against 2-7 Mahomie TikTokers. How are you feeling about this matchup after taking the L last week?
Yeah, I haven't felt great recently. I think I've lost like 3 of my last 5, which is a bit unfortunate. I think I started off 4-0. So yeah, obviously fantasy has been a little less exciting than it was in those first 4 weeks, but I think I put myself in a good spot. I think Dak is going to outscore his projection here because if you look at the way, I mean, he has bye to rest up the finger a bit more. What it really comes down to for me is Jonathan Taylor. Right now, that trade just looks so bad for me, and I regret it every day. But Jonathan Taylor can still turn it around, I think. And Jamal Williams, I think, has taken over that backfield in Detroit. Like, I think DeAndre Swift is just on a pitch count for the rest of his career based on his injury history.
Did he find the end zone last week?
He
Oh
did
no,
not
just a
last week.
10 though, which
No.
seems like a high floor for someone who went like nearly undrafted.
Yeah, so that was a good pick by me. On Eddie's side, I am scared of Patrick Mahomes because I mean, what did they run the ball like 15 times out of like 80 plays last week against Tennessee? Like they just ignored the run game completely. So that's a bit scary. I mean, his team obviously has the chance to go nuclear as they did in week 2. And I mean, I think he had a pretty high scoring week, not last week, but the week before. But yeah, we'll see how this turns out for me. I'm definitely taking myself in this matchup. I think I'll get back on track this week, but I'm
Yeah,
interested
I
to hear
feel
what you
like this
say.
one's definitely going to come down to this Vegas game. I mean, I don't think Sam Ellinger's really done anything with Michael Pittman since he played, I guess 12.3. But like Las Vegas defense isn't very good, but the offense might be able to put up a couple touchdowns early, which might make Indianapolis shy away from the run. But if there was a time for Jonathan Taylor to get back on track, I mean, I think he hasn't put up 20 since, yeah, he did
Yeah, week 1.
nuclear week 1. So if this is the matchup, if he is going to turn it back in, but definitely not guaranteed. I just like the makeup of Eddie's team is really interesting. Like he's got
Yeah.
the pieces that are good are like the really good, really great players, and then the ones aren't are just like so questionable. Like Pittman is just kind of bizarre, kind of weird. Tony Pollard with Zeke back might be less, but he should
Hmm.
still be solid. But then everyone else on his team is a really, really good player, which is shocking to say about Amari Cooper at this point. So he's well rounded. I like if you go look at Eddie's schedule, it's fucking like yeah, and no wonder he's frustrated. It's the worst. It's so many close matchups that just didn't swing his way. So
Yeah.
like we wouldn't really be saying anything about any of those trades if he had, any record that wasn't just atrocious at this point. So, but he's not out of it yet, and I think he'll keep his dreams alive. I'll go with Eddie this week. I say this with a 0 in the kicker spot, but I think Eddie checks the app more than some other guys I've chosen who have zeros in their slots. So I'll
Yeah, I
believe in
would
the
be
Edster to turn
surprised
it around.
if Eddie did. Yeah, I forgot to bring it up, but I think with the whole overhaul of the Indianapolis coaching staff, I think that they're just gonna force feed it to the running back. I think they know what they have in Sam Ellinger, and I don't think that he's a game winner. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully he plays this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, oh God, you need this for your sanity because if it's
Yeah.
not this week, I mean, it doesn't look great
He'll be
for.
there for the playoff run. I just picked him up for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing at this point in the year. And moving in to whatever they call it when one team's 7-2 and the other's 2-7. Connor taking on Kalen. This one might not be close.
I would be shocked if this one was close. But that being said, I think Kalen has put up 160 this year at one point. But that was with Jamar Chase. So
Just
yeah,
having to start some of the players Kalen starts just must feel so bad. Like he's got 4 running backs in. One of them is Cam Akers. He's starting 2 wide receivers, but one is DeAndre Carter. It's just like
and
I
Darren Waller just hasn't done anything this year, right? Has he been
yeah,
hurt
I
all
mean,
year?
will he even play? Who knows? He doesn't have a pivot at the moment. It's just like all around feels atrocious on Kalen's side. This is another go next, but you battle it out for your
Yeah.
safety. But this might be the week that it doesn't work out. On Connor's side, I mean, we've said it all year, just wide receivers who get it done and the top guys at their position elsewhere. Mark Andrews gets his week to rest, and it couldn't have come at a better time as Connor
Hmm.
probably won't need a tight end in this matchup. So
Yeah, for real. I think I know where both of us are going in this matchup.
yeah, I won't ride with Kalen. Not this week.
Yeah, it's tough for him.
Jamar
That
Chase's
Jamar Chase
injury is
really, yeah,
unfortunate, but his season seemed kind of derailed before that.
true.
And I really like this matchup.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Jamie at 2-7 going against the 3-6 Seth. I think this one will be interesting. Both these teams have suffered some adversity, to say the least, this season. Um, and like their teams aren't bad. Like I feel like that's what's so weird about this season is you see the records and you're like, oh, this person must be AFK or atrocious. But it's just how the cookies crumbled this year. And it's wild. I don't think I went into this video thinking I'd say cookie has crumbled twice, but here we are. And like so many wins stocked on the top 6 and then all negatives on the bottom 6. So
Yeah,
you
there's
hate
not
to
really
see it.
the only team floating around 500 is Max's team. But that's a guy that we say has a terrible team.
So it's shocking all around. Miami, you can run on them though. Obviously, we saw Justin Fields do it, but I think Cleveland will
Mhm.
go with the more traditional approach, and I think this could be a massive game from the Cleveland running back, at least in Nick Chubb. It's more of a coin flip this year. Kareem Hunt, he's definitely underperformed. I don't think he's done much of anything. Yeah, he did great week 1 and just
Yeah,
been
that's
doing things.
so out of character for Kareem Hunt. I think he just kind of fell out of graces with that coaching staff this year. I thought that they were trying to trade him, but we'll see. It's almost around time for Deshaun Watson to come back too, right? It's
Yeah,
crazy that
yeah. Is that
that's
next
the
week?
case. I
That
think
might be
he
next
comes
week.
back week 12 since they had their
Okay.
bye.
Jesus Christ, can't believe we let him back in the league.
Yeah, for real.
Who will
But
pick him up? Who needs a quarterback?
yeah, for real.
Yikes.
Going over to JV's side, like her wide receivers, they all really feel like the kinds of guys who could just put up a massive amount of points, or they're going to put up like 5 points. The epitome of boomer bust guys, it feels like. I don't know if that's just me that feels that way.
I
Rondale
don't
Moore,
think
I
these
think.
two, but they're definitely also underperforming.
Yeah, so
They're possession guys. I worry about Gabe Davis if Josh Allen, the same way with Stephon Diggs, but probably even more so with Davis. It feels like he really relies on Josh Allen to just let it fly. And then the Joe Burrow bye week's not great from her, but she was active and she went out and got a top 12 QB, so you
yeah,
can't hate
and that
that.
game will probably be high scoring. Trevor Lawrence is going
Yeah.
to need to throw it a lot.
I like the pivot there from her. It's tough for me to call on this one. I mean, not how the season wanted to go for either of these teams, but
Yeah, who are you taking?
it just feels like it's going to be a big week on Seth's side of the ball. So I'll go Seth here.
Oh
And it's a
man.
battle of my champions. At one point, I was riding these quite a few weeks in a
Yeah.
row to, I think, defeat, but it's occasional victories.
Yeah, you take Seth. I think I'm gonna take Jamie. Gonna create a lot of parity. This could be a big flip in the old weekly projections for us.
And sometimes we need that just to light a little fire for us.
Yeah.
And what a matchup of the week we have this week.
You ready? Here we go.
Moving in, we got myself hoping to bounce back at 6-3 versus the juggernaut with a bye week. Parker at 7-2. ESPN's giving me a 3.9 point edge over Parker, which feels pretty good at this point in the season. But overall, like I haven't felt great about my team, but maybe that's just losing when you have a lot of confidence. And fantasy's always there to remind you that any given week you can lose. And Parker's just really been steamrolling lately, so it might be tough to derail this train. What are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah. I mean, the projections speak for themselves. Anytime you're over 140, it's huge. But I mean, I just don't get why ESPN isn't projecting Derrick Henry over 20 points. Like, who is stopping this guy? Especially now that it's, mid-November. This is when Derrick Henry goes off. Like, the Saquon Barkley Derrick Henry tandem is just going to be so nasty going into the playoffs. And then like you have pieces around it that are good enough to, really put you over that hump. I definitely am not a huge fan of Devontae Smith moving forward. And Alan Lazard seems like he's had a lingering thing all year. But again, both of those guys have the potential to, get you over that hump. And
I won't
that's
take
definitely
any
what you
Alan
need.
Lazard slander. When he plays, he does great. He's just done great. He can't get 20
I mean,
points, but he does great.
great. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't done over
He
20
does what
points
he's
like you
needed to
said.
do. Yeah, Devontae Smith at any moment. I mean, I wanted a guy who can just go absolutely nuclear, and for a little bit we had it. One game, because he has
Mm-hmm.
2 boom games, but the busts have really been hurting me. And it's just kind of the formula for the Eagles. They just outrace all their opponents. So I had a
Yeah,
couple trade offers for Ken Walker last week, but it's just never gonna happen. He's just like
yeah.
he's
I
just
mean,
like
why would
top
you?
5 in the league at this point. Like there's no one that can be sent over that values for him. I think my biggest concern is Justin Herbert. He looks like straight trash last week. And he kind of just has the approach of I'm gonna chuck the ball really far down the field and see what happens. And with no Mike Williams, no one catches it. So
Yeah, it is a bit concerning. He's so lucky that he has Austin Eckler, a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield, because he is just like a check down machine now.
There was
It's crazy to
absolutely
say
there
because
was just no reason for him to check the ball down for a touchdown last week. Like they should have just handed it off to him, but for some reason they're like, yeah, we're gonna do a pitch pass to Eckler. And I was like, thank God, because otherwise he would have got no points. He would have got like 5 points. So it's
yeah,
looking pretty bad from him, which is why I think personally Parker has the edge. Like 20 points, I'd be so happy with for Herbert. He's just a pretty big bust from my draft class.
yeah. I mean, luckily you can kind of go out there and see what there is on the waiver wires. I mean, any waiver wire QB could go off for over 20 points at any week. So
Yeah, I'm not
QB
there
is
yet,
one of the
but I
more
might be.
streamable positions. Yeah. It's tough to say. I mean, I could pick first here if you want me to. I think Parker's team is just too good at this point. I think he's going to hand you your second loss in a row.
Yeah, it would feel a little jarring to end up at 6-4, but I think that's definitely possible. I'll obviously go my team because bounce back week, baby. I slid into all the Instagram DMs. On Parker's side, it's just like he's so kitted out in every position. I think I get lucky. Yeah, he's got the Joe Mixon and even Nick Folk bye week. I mean, Nick Folk's been delivering some performances lately, so that's at least lucky. He's weak at defense, but I think Titans is a fine stream right now. And then just the
Yeah.
receivers, like their floors are, a great game for most of my players. So.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Godwin gets those 6 or 7 catches a game, and then DeAndre Hopkins and Cooper Kupp are getting, their over double-digit targets. And
Yeah.
same thing with Goddard. I mean, Goddard's kind of been going off recently.
I think we could wake up and have some action Sunday morning because I have been relying on the Seahawks and he's got, at least I'll take the edge off Geno, but I'm going to need Justin Herbert to step it up and he just might not have the pieces to do it. So it should be a fun one to watch. I'm a little surprised Tampa Bay's favored in the Germany matchup. I can't believe the Hawks aren't getting any respect still, but should that come to fruition and the Hawks have a dud out there in Munich, then I think Parker might just win it because I have a lot relying on that game.
Yeah, true.
Saquon Barkley against Houston. That's the real one.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, they do give him a massive projection, 25 points. I don't know if I've ever seen a running back that high.
Which you never like to see.
Yeah.
But there you go. Week 10. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Week 10. Gonna be in the books. Are you waking up for the Hawks game?
I was thinking
you coming over?
I think it might be fun. All right, we're all going over to Adam's house, 6:30 a.m.
Yeah, be here.
Why not? I haven't done the full. I think I did it a couple times last year, but I haven't done the full 6:30 to 8 o'clock slate yet, where you just feel like a true fucking degenerate. Maybe I'll buy a cigar for it too. So
yeah,
who knows?
It'll be sick. Yeah,
I can't wait. But
me either, man.
Playoffs are heating up. We're still working on guests. If you'd love to be on the podcast, apply in the link below or let us know. We should do that next week. I'm holding it in the video. One of you fuckers will also be here for a little segment there.
Agree.
Any message to the league?
Nah, man. Good luck to everyone out there. It'll be fun. It's time to hunker down for playoffs. Let's go.
There you go. Make it all happen. Good luck, everyone.